They're subsidizing the schools, not the students. And the schools can choose their own students. They have a monopoly, mostly by, as you know, by geography. And the way to introduce competition in schooling is to say, well, look, the government is willing to spend $8,000 to $10,000 a year on each child for schooling. Let's give each parent a voucher, not necessarily for $10,000, say for $5,000, because we know that anything government does, private enterprise can do for half the cost. And moreover, it's a good thing for parents to have some responsibility too. And so suppose you gave every parent a voucher for $5,000, $6,000, something of that order of magnitude, and said you can take this and go to school, any school you want. If you take it to a government school, they'll take it as full cost, full tuition. If you take it to a private school, it'll be $5,000. And if they charge more, you'll have to pay that extra. If they charge less, we'll put that money in a fund for use later on for college. If you did that, you would change the character of the education.
Why do you think it's failed? Because of the power of the teachers' union? That the idea of reform in education?
There's no doubt that it's failed because of the power of the teachers' union. Every time we've tried a public vote on this thing, a public poll.
Right. Your side wins.
No. 9 months after the real election, before the election, our side wins.
Right. At the election time?
It loses.
Okay.
And in between times, the teachers' unions throw out millions of dollars and make all sorts of wrong and false statements. They misrepresent the situation, and they're tremendously successful.
What do you think has been, and where have you changed your mind? Where has Milton Friedman said, I was wrong?
Well,
or I changed my mind, new evidence makes me look at this in a new light? Well,
I'll tell you one place. I used to believe that there was some virtue of an antitrust action. I used to believe...
Breaking up giant.
And now I don't really believe it. I believe now that the antitrust actions have on the whole done more harm than good, and that the only place where you have real monopolies is where government provides a monopoly.
So look at AT&T, or you look at IBM, and well, they didn't win that one though. That was the courts that didn't win that.
Yeah. Well, the AT&T was broken up, and it was a good thing that it was broken up. But the AT&T, most monopolies can prevail only because government supports them. The teachers' union, the teachers' unions have a monopoly because of government laws that are favorable to the union.
Is that because humankind's initiative is to be free and to be competitive?
I think that humankind has a, well, it's hard to say what humankind's initiative is.
Yeah. Instinct is, though. Don't you believe
I believe that people want to be free.
Yeah.
I believe that people want to be responsible for themselves. And that's what gives them the most satisfaction. That they don't like to be controlled by other people. Of course, they also like gifts. They also like to be given things. They like to have free lunches. And there are no free lunches.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Well, I guess I want my legacy to be twofold. On the one hand, I regard my life as a technical economist, as a professional economist, as different from my life as a public intellectual. Those are two very different aspects. And I want them to be judged separately. When I was asked, when I received the Nobel Prize, I learned of it by an accident. That is, not through official channels.
Normally they give you a call or something. Okay.
Yeah, they give a call. But in this case, I wasn't home. He gave a call. I was on my way to Michigan to engage in propaganda for a tax and spending limitation amendment to the Michigan Constitution. And we had the group that I was going for had a press conference in the Detroit Athletic Club. And we came to the I flew in. We came in a car and drove in, and as I got out of the car, we were surprised that there was a big crowd there. We didn't think we were going to draw anything like that number of reporters. And the reporter stuck a microphone into my mouth and said, "What do you think about the prize?" And I said, "What prize?" Because I hadn't heard anything. And one of the things he said, what do you think about, is this a high point of your life? Is this a great achievement of your life? And I said, I want to be judged not by 8 or 9 people in Sweden, but by the economists 25 or 30 or 50 years from now, whether they still find my work useful. That will be my great desire. So that's one aspect of my life that I would like to be legacy, which really it's hard to recognize, but it's really independent of public policy. But the other aspect of my life is that I would like to believe that I will be judged to have contributed to human freedom. That freedom is a great objective. Now, if you ask me, why do you believe in freedom so much? I don't really know. But somehow, what I want is human freedom, for people to be free to talk to one another, to deal with one another, to love one another or hate one another. And that's what people don't really recognize, that's the great virtue of the free market, of the private market. It enables people who hate one another, who don't speak the same language, who would fight one another if they had the chance, to cooperate together economically. We were able to deal with China when China was a communist state. Even though we thought that was a terrible arrangement, we could still cooperate. And that's what markets enable people to do. They bring freedom with them.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Well, I can say one other thing you might say. You had the good sense to choose a wonderful partner some 63 years ago.
Oh, 67 years ago.
67 years ago. Your wonderful wife.
I agree with you.
Friedman. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Milton Friedman, we are in San Francisco. Interesting that Milton Friedman lives in this city. I'm pleased to have him on this program, and thank you for joining us for the hour.